All right.
We're live in three, two, one.
We made it.
Awesome. That's a great intro that you've got there.
Really? I just put that together so fast, like you can't even believe.
No,
Because
it's cute.
I didn't want to do something that was long and protracted, and yeah, I'm not that smart in that area, so it had to be quick, you know.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think it's pretty cool. It's actually like because I've been in the Titano community for a few months now,
Uh,
and you were of course a different name for a while there,
hey
and
Tubbs.
yeah, and then moving into your first Tony Titano videos, and I think was that one with Spicoli?
Dex was the first one.
Oh, Dex. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, I watched the first one, and yeah, now just seeing your background transition, and you got the t-shirt on, you've got the new
Yeah,
hairstyle.
yeah. I
I almost
got.
expect to see the Titano logo carved into your hair there.
Well, I'm gonna have it tattooed over here, I think.
Oh, are you?
But
Nice.
this is the background is actually one of those. It's a green screen effect. It's really just the a picture that I pulled off of the internet,
Yeah.
and then I've got a green drape that's hanging behind me,
Okay.
and then the program uses a chroma key feature that eliminates the green and puts whatever image you want there. It could even be a video.
Right.
Yeah, you've seen that before.
I have. Yes. Yeah.
So it kind of works good because nobody wants to look at my dirty drapes.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Uh,
usually in the corner by my lamp, and we rearranged the house yesterday for a party, so my chair's gone. So I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to shift around.
yeah,
So
but you know what I see back there? I see a bunch of guitars.
yeah,
Who's that?
that's me.
Really?
Hmm.
I play also.
Oh, do you? What do you play?
Yeah. Well, I play whatever I feel like playing. It's like I wouldn't say that I do covers or anything like that. It's just, since I was 15, I just noodled around and had an 8-track recorder, and I would just like make my own stuff. And
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
friends would come over with their instruments, and we would just bang around and have a good time. But
yeah.
I have a nice Les Paul that's got like a ocean green sunburst.
Oh,
Uh,
beautiful.
yeah, it's really nice.
Mm.
Got a custom Fender, and that
Hmm.
has like a Harley Davidson motif on it. It's
Okay.
re- it's
Cool.
it's really neat looking, and it sounds
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. Is that a
It
Strat or a Telly?
is a Strat.
Yeah.
Hmm. And then I got another Harley Davidson Strat too, and some acoustics. So
Right on.
uh, and they're definitely a lot of fun, and other people in the family now are starting to branch out too and pick it up. Maybe
Cool.
we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a big fan of guitars. I have quite a few different guitars and basses, and
I
I
see
find
that.
myself
So
gravitating, yeah, more towards bass at the moment than
oh
guitar.
really?
Not sure why. It's a
Uh huh.
little bit of a shift, but yeah, it's
Are you
definitely
like classically trained in any of it, or
no.
self taught?
Oh yeah, yeah, mostly self-taught, internet taught.
Uh huh.
Yeah, just like you, like noodling away and making the sounds that I like, and putting notes together and chords together. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
If you can I see that? Can you just move out of the way just a tad there? I want to see. Okay,
yeah.
that's a really nice looking acoustic, and you like black, I see.
No, actually, that acoustic is blue.
Oh, it's blue.
Yeah, and then the Tom Anderson Strat in the middle is it's bullet green, the same color as the car from the old Steve McQueen movie. And
Is
then
that
the
something?
bass.
Because on the camera, both of them look black.
Oh yeah, no,
At
no. Do
least
you
on
want me
my
to walk?
end.
I can walk closer. I just have to carry the microphone and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to check them out?
Yeah. Well, you got some high ceilings there.
I do. Yeah. Can you see
Oh,
those?
okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that blue. That is
Yeah.
really nice.
Can you see the palm trees in the fretboard?
I'll be darned. Look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a beauty of a guitar.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's your bass.
Yeah, it's a first year Chapman.
God, look at the neck on that sucker. Woo.
Yeah, it's
It goes on for miles.
it it does. And for a short-armed girl, it's a bit of a stretch.
Uh, back when I was a young man, I played violin like in the
Okay.
first grade,
Hmm.
and then there was a friend of mine who had the big bass, like the big
Yeah, yeah,
thing
yeah,
that
yeah.
you,
The big ones. Yeah.
yeah, he used to have to carry that thing around, and I remember I was like, wow, dude, you should just get like a guitar bass. But
Yeah.
those things were huge.
Oh
You
yeah.
remember? You remember those? Like, did you have orchestra class when you were in school?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I
Elementary?
actually I have a friend who still plays one in a band here locally. He whips it out occasionally, and the guitarist and singer will stand on it and he'll play it while it's lying down on the ground. It's actually pretty funny.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He stands on it? Like, you mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
wow,
He
I'd be
climbs
afraid
up
to
the
break.
slide, and it's a great big double bass. Yeah, it's massive. So
I would be afraid that I would break that, I think.
yeah, I think they've practiced that act enough that they've got it down pat.
Well, he must not be 250 pounds like
No.
somebody I know.
Yeah, no, he's a little guy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's good.
Small but mighty.
Uh-huh. What are you drinking over there this early? Well,
Just water.
you know what? For me, it's 7 o'clock, but
Right.
you're actually
Mhm.
10 o'clock,
Yeah,
right?
it's 10 o'clock here. Yeah.
So you've already got a good start to your day.
I have. Yeah. Yeah. I had a party last night, and yeah, I was up early, just before 5. I'm usually an early riser, so yeah, I was up just before 5. And
Would you say you had a party? Did you have to clean up
mm,
after everybody and all that stuff? That's why I hate
yes.
parties.
Yes. Yeah, I know that is a problem, but it's kind of like a not like a housewarming, but a house cooling. The house renovations are almost finished, and we're putting it up for sale. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and so okay, yeah. So you're going to put it up for sale. I
Hmm.
did, and you're moving to Australia.
Yes,
Is that a done deal?
that's a pretty well done deal. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, my goodness. Now you have to. I mean, this I got to hear. I mean, you're telling me is this happening all because of Titano?
Um, no, no, it's not. No, no, I am an Australian and Canadian,
Ah,
and my husband's Australian, and his family is all there. My
oh, I
family's
see.
here in Canada. I do have some family in Australia as well, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, basically, it's like returning home after being in Canada for more than 2 decades now. So, or
Wow.
nearly 2 decades. I think we've been here 18 years.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it's time to
There's
go back.
there's a guy I like to watch on YouTube. He's from Australia. He has a motorcycle channel that I like to watch,
Okay.
and he does a lot of riding on the coastline
Hmm.
and in inlet, in the different areas there,
Yeah,
and it's gorgeous.
it is.
But
Yeah, it really is. Is he up on the East Coast, or is he on the south, like the Great Ocean
uh,
Road?
I wouldn't know where it is, but he's in Queensland.
Oh, Queensland. Yeah, okay, that's where we're going. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, maybe you'll have to pop in and see him. I'll send you a link to his YouTube channel.
Absolutely. Yeah,
He's
cool.
he's a pretty interesting guy. He's an entrepreneur,
Uh-huh.
but he's been in the real estate, I think, mostly where
Okay.
he's done pretty well for himself.
Yeah.
And but he's an interesting guy. I like him because he's real and has his own like mental uh, deficiencies that he does not try to
Okay.
hide, which
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
I really I really appreciate that. Since we all have them, I guess, and
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
it's
Everybody's
kind of
got
what
the thing.
makes this interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Now,
So,
Tony, I've got to ask, do you have two cameras?
uh, yeah.
Because there's a camera, like I'm looking at the side of your head.
Oh, and now you're looking. Is it now?
And
Now
now
it's
I'm looking
forward.
at your face. Yeah.
Well, actually, it's one camera on,
Right.
and I guess I just have to move this over here. Here, let me just try to do this. There, that's
Oh, there we
better.
go. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
perfect.
Y-
Because I was thinking at first you were just sort of like finagling with the microphones and stuff, and then you kept talking in that direction. I was thinking, oh, maybe that's how he streams.
No, I have three monitors going. So
Okay.
on the setup. And so like over here on my left is another big giant monitor, and that's got the Titano price graph on the
Uh-huh.
decks. And
Yep.
then I have the middle one is the OBS software program that actually makes all of this work.
Okay,
And then
cool.
over here is where I had your screen, so that's why I was looking at that third
Yeah.
screen.
Fair enough.
So,
I was over there. Yeah.
but I do have three cameras also, and it's funny because like as I was trying to put all this together, I didn't know what I was doing. I still barely do, but
But you're making it work.
I'm piecing it together. But I bought like a couple. I bought four cameras actually, and it winds up that I like the cheapest one
Oh, perfect.
the best. So it
Yeah.
seems to do a better job.
Oh, that's good.
Well, but I mean, probably spent about $1,000 more than I needed to on other
On
cameras.
the others, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you sort of always have to sort of venture out and try different things, right?
Well, either by design or by choice, I guess it doesn't matter. But it seems like mostly it's just like every setup is so different. And then I noticed the big thing in here was lighting. So when I
Okay.
tried doing this originally, it was all dark as hell, even though I could see just fine,
Right.
but the cameras couldn't,
They weren't
And
picking it up. Yeah.
yeah. Now, like I don't know what it is about your place, but unless you've got like a big bright light trained on you, you look
No.
fantastic.
Oh, thanks. There's my
Uh,
light.
that's incredible. See, my
Yeah,
camera,
it's
my
all
camera
coming through
won't
these
do that.
windows. No. Yeah, it's we got a lot of windows in here, so it's nice and bright during the day and pretty
Uh huh.
gloomy at night. Yeah. But I usually record video when I'm doing it over in the corner near the guitars with that wood wall behind me.
Uh
Makes for a
huh.
good backdrop.
Well, yeah, that those walls look pretty darn awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of neat features in this house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's
We're
pretty
stuck
cool.
with just like gypsum drywall,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just white. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's it.
That's all we got.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
So
So,
I wanted to just tell everybody, first of all, I guess the first time I saw you, it was in the Titano Discord,
mhm.
and I've gone to the liberty of looking at some of the history in there, and so I jotted down a couple of notes, things that I wanted to ask you about. So as we go along, I'll probably refer to some of those, and but the reason why you're on here today is because you actually contacted me
Mhm.
to do a radio spot tomorrow.
Yes.
And I wanted to preempt that because I always have to be first. And so, uh,
That's awesome.
it, so I did. But you're working on a new project.
Mhm.
And could you want to just go ahead and talk a little bit about that? Because I wanted to give you the opportunity. Here, I'm under no time constraints, and neither are you. So,
Yeah.
you can just take your time and explain what you're doing.
Okay.
If you want to send me links, I can put those in on the video
Sure.
later so people can
Yeah.
have access to them. And
Absolutely.
then as you're talking about it, I may go like this, like, if I just like I want to at maybe you said something, it's going to give me a question, and if I don't get it out, I won't be able to understand the rest of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Fair enough. Yep.
So if I do that, that's just only because you said something so interesting that I have to ask you more about it.
Okay. All
But
right.
other
Fair
than
enough.
that, I'll be quiet, sipping my coffee, and
Okay.
I'll let you get to your project because I think it's important that you have that time.
All right. Fair enough. I'll be concise because that's usually how I am. I
Okay.
don't tend to ramble on too much, and if I do, stop me because it tends to get boring. But
Have you
I'm
seen how long my videos are? Don't
yes,
worry
I have
about it.
actually. Okay, all right, then I'm rambling on. Um, yeah, so the my new project that I'm involved in is called the Squatch Fund, and it's basically a collective of traders and investors in crypto that are operating a trading pool which returns Squatch gifts. They used to be called dividends, but I guess with the way that the U.S. legislation is going,
Huh.
the words dividends and passive income aren't very popular in the U.S. at the moment because they're, I guess, considering them to be too closely aligned with securities. So in light of that, the Squatch Fund is branching out, calling it Squatch Gifts instead of dividends, and also putting together a basically a NFT gated training platform to talk about how each of the traders are approaching trading, what their systems are, and also some money mindset stuff, some positivity things, and moving out of trading time for money and more into creating legacy and generational wealth. I got the 5. I got the big hand.
Is this born of your creation?
This is partly my creation as well as a few other people. So how it started was at the Dallas Guitar Show, and with a Sasquatch design on a T-shirt, and an overheard conversation amongst 3 professional traders and investors. And we just got into a discussion about how they could serve other people in terms of putting together online training for how to invest in crypto and DeFi and things like that. And then it was sort of like, well, why don't we have this? We can show how it's like how we do it by sharing the proceeds of the fund. So there's 7 different trader profiles that are trading each a portion of the pool for maximum diversification and I guess, more security by doing that. So security through diversifying, as well as the number of traders, 7 different trading pools. So there's always, sorry.
Let me get this straight. So
Mm-hmm.
you're at a guitar expo of some kind. And it's like, so you're over here, you just by chance, you start hearing somebody else talk about something you're also passionate about.
Yes.
And then you get involved in the conversation, and from this is born this idea.
Yes. Yeah. And it's actually interesting because that was happening just when Titano hit 2 cents as it was dropping. And a friend of mine who lives in Dallas, he was kind enough to put me up for the weekend at his place. And I was like jamming Titano down his throat. And I was saying, you've got to get in now, 2 cents. It's, I was in at, 21, 18, 15.
Yeah.
Because I was getting in, I would say it was around February I was getting into Titano. So I wound up, DCAing in at a variety of different levels. And yeah, which is fine because I believe in the project. It's a long-term thing for me. And this is what I was telling him as well. So he actually jumped in with a few $100 of Titano at just under 2 cents. So that morning I'm setting up and I was at a base booth there. And these 3 guys walked by and they were talking about, crypto and DeFi and things like that in general. And they liked my Sasquatch, bass playing Sasquatch on a T-shirt. So that's what actually became the design for the NFTs. Is this Sasquatch that plays bass or guitar or eats lollipops. Like I made a bunch of different designs. So I got to be
so you're the designer.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you're a lady of many hats, and I can relate to that.
I know you can. I think we had a conversation a little while ago about you do honey, right? You make honey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I steal it from the bees, but
yeah. I'm fairly confident the bees are happy to share it.
I'm fairly confident they're not.
All of the honey that I've eaten has been provided with love by the bees. They enjoy sharing.
Well, they make it with love, but they don't like giving it away. I'll tell you, if you could just imagine, like you walk into your house, right? And you're just coming back from maybe going out to dinner. You walk in your house and there's a bunch of strangers with in your refrigerator, putting everything in a sack and getting ready to make off with all your food. And that's exactly what's happening when you rob bees. In fact, that's what you call it.
Right.
You're robbing.
You're robbing them.
You're robbing. So you might, I mean, it's not like you're taking it and throwing it away or putting it in
No.
but to them, you're taking their store of wealth.
Yeah. Right.
And so they don't take too kindly to it. And bees out here are definitely Africanized. And
right.
are very angry when you're in their house.
Okay.
And and they remember you for days. And so we'll be walking around here having to watch your ass when you go from the house to the shop because they're
Wow.
still angry for a couple of days.
Yeah. Neat. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So they're like teenage boys coming in and raiding the fridge.
Except that they're all girls. So all the
Yeah.
bees that you
Right.
see out there are female,
Or female.
and but they are warriors, and the men are just used for breeding.
Right.
The drones and
Hmm.
are pretty much useless, and oftentimes they are killed, especially if food and resources become thin. They're the first to go.
Right. Yeah, that's brutal way of living. Now I have a whole new outlook on bees and honey.
You know, it's just like anything. You have to look at you kind of have to be picky. You know, it's like if you center on one thing, it'll ruin the experience. And
Mm,
there's a lot to be awed by. There's no question about it. When you look at the bees and you look at different things that they do, if you look at them separately, you're just like, wow, what is reality? Because,
yeah.
it seems like, these bees have some means of communication, which would just blow your mind. And you think, where does how are they doing this? Where's this information coming from and how are
Mm,
they and so it will leave you questioning what is real. There's no question about it. Then there's other aspects of it, just like with us, that we look at each other and we're just like, how can you be this way but also be that way?
right.
And and so it's the same thing, And I guess if you're not very centered in real life, you'll probably hate bees because they do things that we would just be like, no way, you can't do that. I mean, when you're old and sick, you're out.
Yeah. Right.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You no longer are useful and you're gone.
Yeah. Yeah. So they don't have very humanistic tendencies, obviously.
Well, we do the same thing, so it's like, I don't know, what is human, and
Yeah.
it's like, that's why I kind of like this channel, because, you have the opportunity to step into this realm here where we talk about why we do things,
Mm,
because oftentimes, it's so far removed from what you see in the news and all these places, and you could find yourself thinking possibly you're from another planet. You're here just visiting, but I always find that the investor mindset is very interesting to me, which is why I wanted to do this channel, because it does seem like it's a departure from just parking your carcass on the couch and wanting to be entertained all the time, but
oh,
instead,
definitely. Yeah.
there is this energy to go out and grab and create what you're looking for. So,
Yeah, there's so many opportunities, for investing, and it's the thing I like about DeFi is it's cooperative, not not combative. Really,
hmm
it's not one or the other. It can be both. It can be many. Like you can support across all platforms. Platforms can support each other and lift each other up, and that's one of the cool things too about the Squatch Fund is two of the profiles have a lot of DeFi in them. Titano appears in both of those guys' profiles,
uh-huh.
as well as Avion Finance, which is new. I think launching in the next few hours. Their pre-sale ends today, I think. Um, and then there's quite a few other protocols, and so they support each other. The Squatch Fund and other similar funds would be supporting a raft of them across the board, and also getting the word out about that by sharing those with all of the members that are in the Squatch Fund or and vice versa. So it's a
hmm
very sharing community, and that's what I do like about it. Um, it's also interesting because it's very young man dominated, and I
Yeah,
am
I
not
see
a
that.
young man by any stretch of the imagination. So it's interesting conversations sometimes that you get into on the Discord, and you think, "Wow, this is I am ancient and female." So yeah, it's
Well, don't feel too
definitely
bad.
interesting.
I'm probably much more ancient, and I find myself nowhere near the mentality I had when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah. We definitely
it's
evolve, like back then, and I guess I followed the path of most people. You finish high school, you go to university, you get a degree, then you go get a job in your field, and then you try and climb that ladder until you're, earning the best
Yeah.
possible income with, with benefits and retirement fund and all that. And then you have 2.2 kids and a dog and a house in the suburbs. And that's the formula that you follow. And I think busting out of that formula it's almost like trying to hurdle a bunch of elastic bands, because you keep sort of finding yourself springing back into your comfort zone. So moving into DeFi was very much going out of my comfort zone, but I loved it because I felt
Hmm.
like that's where I belonged, going into a completely different realm where the rules didn't apply. It was like the Wild West
Hmm.
all over again.
And you're like, you have an element of control with this that I don't think, you just think about banking. You don't have control over that. All you control is putting money in or taking it out, but they have all the levers.
That's right.
And so I think, I completely relate with what you're saying, because the reason I really like crypto is because of the user interface,
Hmm.
and how you're pulling all the levers and you get to decide. And for, I guess, for some people that's a scary thought, but for us it's liberating.
That's right. Yeah, and it's a big mindset shift as well. From, okay, well, they're keeping care of my money and they're going to do right by it,
Hmm.
as opposed to, yeah, okay, it's a gamified platform. I get to have control over it and make it fun, and colorful and funky with great communities. And yeah, it's just it's a whole different world.
How long have you been into crypto?
Since 2014
Okay, so
would
for
be
quite
when
a
I
while.
quite a while. Yeah, I sort of ventured in, just, yeah, like as a newbie here, buy these coins and just hang on to them.
Uh-huh.
And so that's kind of what I did. And then it was, I guess, 2018 I started getting a little bit more interested in it. It's funny, back in 2015 or 16, I was at a conference in Toronto and I met a woman there from Germany, and she invited me to become part of a blockchain project with her at the time. And she said, it's going to be the way of the future. You want to be in on this at the ground floor. And I thought, you know what? And I was at the time running an engineering company, doing environmental remediation, spill cleanup for large industrial companies.
Uh-huh.
And I just didn't really have time to think about learning something completely new. And I was still sort of in that mindset of, okay, well, this is what I do. I'm an engineer and I run a business. Um, and I hadn't broken out of that mold yet at the time.
Hmm.
So I said no to her. And that defining moment was, I think, a critical disappointment.
Do
When
you
I look back, it was one
do
of
you
those
remember
regrets.
which project she was running?
No, I don't. And I
Oh.
don't even remember. Her first name was Alexander, but I don't remember her last name. And I have no contact info from her.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, she was um, very intelligent woman. She knew her stuff. She knew it backwards and forwards. And I think for me at the time, it was a little bit intimidating because I just sort of waded into crypto a little bit. I hadn't done anything more with it. But now, learning all that I've learned in the past, 2 years, since getting really much more involved, I yeah, I really wish I'd jumped in on her bandwagon back then and learned from her,
Hmm.
and her team that she was working with.
When I think about all the opportunities that I had to be introduced to crypto and passed on it, also, it blows my mind. And it's like, and what's my excuse? Because I've been in business for 13 years. I'm in
Mhm.
business to turn a profit, obviously, but somehow or another, interest was piqued by Bitcoin and what was happening with that. And I heard about it many, many times, but I never stopped to even read a single paragraph of information about it until,
Yep.
like a year ago.
Hmm. Yeah, it's it's funny, isn't it, how, the universe shows us the way so many times and we just ignore it and ignore it. And it's almost like they're running around with a door frame in front of us saying, okay, walk through now and walk through
Hmm.
now. And eventually you do take that step through, and, then there's no looking back
But when
once
you do
you.
look back, like you said, you got, oh my gosh, I mean, I had so many opportunities that were right in front of me, and I passed on it to do what? To
Mm,
stay broke and
Yep.
and to I don't know, somehow think that it was yeah, I don't know, honorable to be running around in circles, working hard but not working smart. So
Yep. Yeah. Those I know those 16 to 18-hour work days all too well.
uh,
Glued to my phone, waiting for, something to happen, always being available 24/7.
and
Yeah.
now you make things happen.
Now I make things happen. I do a lot of different things now. I've got a book coming out in the next few months, and it's kind of a little bit about my journey into DeFi and that space. So I'm excited about that.
What's the
The
title
Squatch
on
Fund
that?
is, I can't tell you,
Ah,
but I'll tell you as soon as it launches, and then we can maybe have a conversation about that.
of course, of
Yeah,
course.
I think it's gonna be good for me anyway to pull all that together. And I've always loved writing, and I was talking to somebody last night at my party, and they said, "Have you got your first book published yet?" I said, "No, but I'm about to publish my sixth." I still haven't published the first one. I haven't finished it yet, but
Uh,
yeah, this sixth one is going to come out. But yeah, I have a lot of ideas. I get them down on paper, then I have another idea, and I tackle that one. But in terms of yeah, writing books, that's this one is coming out, and it'll be out in the next couple months. So
and
yeah.
that's fantastic. You said something earlier, about our age, but let's like look at what we're doing now and what we weren't doing then. So, it's
Mhm.
like it's just kind of interesting uh, how much time is needed, for your ideas and about yourself and about the world to marinate, to take some kind of root so you could kind of like make sense of everything you're doing. And it just really does take a lot of time, unfortunately. It
It
really
does.
does.
It takes a lot of time and an open mind. And I think you hit the nail on the head earlier when you mentioned about sitting in front of the TV to be entertained.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will get out of bed, have their coffee, go to work, do what they need to do at work, come home, turn on the boob tube and sit down and and be entertained. They've they're not following that the rule of create before consume. So they're not doing anything to feed their soul. They're not doing the things that they need to do to fulfill their life purpose, right? They're just consuming. So they're doing their
Yeah.
job to pay the bills and then
Yeah.
consuming entertainment.
That was
Yeah.
me. That was me. I'd just come home from work and I just would plop down in an office chair and start
Mm.
working in Photoshop or whatever. But that was because I just didn't have an idea of what life could really give you, or I didn't realize how empowered you could feel.
Oh, yeah.
So those were like concepts, that nobody ever taught me. I mean, I didn't grow up hearing those things. I didn't really know about them, and I thought you just work and then at some point you retire,
Hmm.
and then that's it. You
Yep.
just you live your life watching movies and I don't know, or maybe going out to a nice place to sit around in the park or enjoy nature or something. But the whole idea of rising for these big concepts, liberation, just maxing out your potential. I mean, I never thought that way until I started my own business.
Yep.
And of course, even when I started my own business, it was a couple of years before I started thinking any kind of romantic thoughts about being in business. It was just
Right.
like it was like
Yeah.
scratching and clawing for survival, you know.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah. I know.
yeah, so
Mm.
but like you say, but then when all the hard work paid off, and you're able to relax a little bit and kind of take a look around, you say, "Wow, look at what I did." That's like I can't believe that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I
It, it
I
changes you.
understand what you're saying. Yeah, the changes just even internally, the stuff that people can't see,
Hmm.
but you can see or you can feel. And when you look back at where you were, at the beginning of your journey, like at the beginning of my journey, I started with 2,000 Titano. And yeah, that's when I looked at the project, I thought there's something really inherently brilliant about this project. And like, I have long been a fan of compound interest.
Uh-huh.
Even as a little girl, we used to have bonds given to us by our grandmother, savings bonds. And I remember saying, I want to put this into a compounding interest fund.
Yeah.
And my grandmother was like, all right, I'll do that for you. So she did. And every month I mapped it out on graph paper, how much my compound interest was going to compound. So, like, I've had a lifelong fascination with that. And that was, way before computers.
Well,
Um,
you got a head start there. I didn't see my first compounding calculator until about 8 months ago, and it blew my mind.
Yeah, I almost had to do it with an abacus at first. That's how old we're talking. Yeah, I think I was 20 before I got my first computer. So
Uh-huh.
that's yeah. No, I shouldn't say that. We had a ColecoVision. Do you remember the ColecoVision?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
and it had this plug-in, the Atom computer,
Uh-huh.
and you could make
Yep.
this little skier game. You couldn't do much else other than word process with it, but it was something.
Whatever you can remember, I can remember more. Just so you know. Okay. I'm 55. I've been around for a long time.
Oh, you've only got a few years on me.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
no, I remember when I was a kid, all we had was this little handheld football game, and I think it was from Coleco,
Hmm.
uh, and it was just like red dashes that represented
Yeah.
football players, and you had to move that red dash from one end of the screen to the other,
Uh-huh.
and it was shaped like a stadium, and
Yep.
it
I
just
remember
made
the one. Yeah.
beep sounds, and
And
that's it.
it would just go dit, 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 dit as your player was moving along. Yeah. I had a bowling one too. And you had to like line up your thing, and it
Uh-huh.
would just the ball would go down and knock the pins over.
Oh, that's so funny because I never saw that one, so you got me there.
It's called Bowlatronic, and I honestly, Tony, I think I still have it in the basement.
Wow, that's amazing. See, if
I
I
should
if
fish
I
it
had
out.
something like that, I would dig that out and see if it starts up.
Yeah, I should hunt it down. I need to go through all that stuff anyway if I'm moving overseas in the next little while.
Well, you must
Um,
have had a good life if you still have all those elements from way back, way back.
yeah, I do have a few things from way back. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I have a tendency to keep things that I love.
A
Um,
lot of people wish. I bet a lot of people wish that they did that when they wind up with nothing from the past.
yes, yeah,
I'm that way. I got one violin. That's it from
hmm,
those days. And the rest are just memories and pictures. So
yeah, yeah. But one violin is better than no violins.
I
So
guess so. I guess
yeah,
so. Yeah.
that's
And I know that I've taken you far away, which I tend to do from your Sasquatch.
oh, the
Uh,
Squatch Fund. Yeah.
so if you can remember where you left off and you want to continue, by all means, do so.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we were. As I was saying, I was at the Dallas Guitar Show,
Yeah.
with a very cool Sasquatch T-shirt, playing bass. Met these three traders. They've subsequently brought in four others that they've worked with, to create this trading team that they all work independently, but also together.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I'm sort of like the project lead in that I'm prodding everybody to do what they need to do next, to get
Hmm.
things going. We brought in legal and tax advice as well. Got ourselves incorporated, so now
Wow.
we're, yeah, fully incorporated company. Going to do the KYC process after launch, and I guess as far as doxing, I'm the one who's fully doxed. I'm out in the public as, Defi Jenny, and
Hmm.
on Twitter as that, and in Discord, and people can connect with me through the website and the email, and things like that with any questions. But yeah, so basically what it is it's an NFT collection, and owners of the NFTs receive gifts on a monthly basis, as well as there's rarity bonus games that, for instance, if your Sasquatch is playing a green base instead of a yellow base, you might get a rarity bonus gift that month. And basically, it's the monthly proceeds from the trading pool that are distributed to provide these gifts. And then,
Hmm.
in addition, of course, there's the training platform, NFT gated access, And we're also talking about potentially doing some metaverse events, because the roots are in music and guitars. So we were thinking about potentially putting on some metaverse style concerts once all of the NFTs are minted and the project's well and truly up and running.
And these additional players, are they do they have some skin in the game here? Has everybody kind of contributed in terms of money?
They have, yeah. So we're basically shoestring budgeting it for startup. We didn't want to take any loans out for starting up. So
Smart.
yeah, so basically all of the traders are working on a commission only basis, plus they have NFTs. So they were all given an NFT, one NFT, and then they had to buy the rest, that they however many they wanted. So that formed the beginning of their investment into the trading pool. So some of the trading and investing has already started, even though the project hasn't officially launched, just to take advantage of, first of all, the bear market and the low prices that are out there, and secondly, the pre-sales that are of interest at the moment. So there's been some trading happening already, and once the launch date of July 27th happens, all those wallets will receive those initial pre-launch investing efforts into the trading wallets.
Wow, this is kind of exciting, huh? Are you nervous?
I'm not nervous. No, I fully believe in this project, and the thing that I love about it is the sharing aspect so much, because I think a lot of people are looking for, first of all, an easy entry into the world of crypto, and then they're maybe a little bit nervous, especially older people, and that means like anyone over 35 in the world of crypto, and especially in the world of DeFi. Um, so yeah, I think there's a little bit of apprehension, I guess, in getting involved. So knowing that the team operates with 100% integrity and the values behind it are to basically help support generational wealth, and in the form of a really cool looking angry Sasquatch playing a guitar or
Yeah.
eating a lollipop.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so the NFTs are cute, and the basic tenet behind it is we're not a mutual fund. We're not financial advisors, although some of the traders are in their day jobs. But it's like the investor is investing in the NFT digital art, and that digital art does things for them as long as they hold it. So it's like almost the simplest form of getting in there,
Yeah.
and
And
and being sorry.
I'm just curious if have you like test modeled this yet? Have you put it in front of somebody that doesn't know anything all about crypto, and what was their response
Yes.
to what was being proposed to them? I'm just curious.
They liked it. I need to probably get my language better around it for talking to people who've never heard of anything in DeFi.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I did pitch it to a couple of success coaches and groups that I'm part of, and they love the idea. And they're not crypto people at all. In fact, I had to instruct them on how to create a MetaMask wallet, and how to turn it on to the Polygon blockchain so that they could see their NFT on OpenSea and things like that. So it was very much a walk me through it process, which reminds me, I want to put that information directly into the white paper so that people have it at their fingertips, that they know how to open a wallet and keep it safe and secure.
Is
And
there like a demographic that you're thinking you specifically want to target, or like are you with the idea of talking to somebody that knows nothing about investing, is
mhm.
that something that you don't want any part of, or are
Absolutely
you
not.
open
No,
to
and I know
anybody?
that, yeah, you can't really say like everybody's my target market, right?
Hmm.
And only Sasquatch lovers are my target market. But I think in terms of the simplicity of it, it's going to appeal more to the people who are not well versed in DeFi and crypto, and they're gently entering in, and looking at the training courses and the one pagers, profiles for each of the traders. The courses are not at this stage going into great depth and detail of trading systems and strategies, but they're just going to be basic outlines of how they make their choices and why. And if people want to use their Squatch gifts to basically not copy trade, but at least choose some of the protocols that the Squatch Fund is also invested in, to invest those proceeds in and maybe create their own portfolio, then that information will be there as well. So they can say, okay, well, like the Squatch Fund, Trader Profile 2 and 5 are heavily invested in Titano and other rebase tokens. Whereas, some of them are day trading and trading futures and things like that. So those are a little bit more, I guess, difficult areas to navigate for newbies, so to
I
speak.
would say so. That's pretty challenging. It's challenging even for me when I've been in this a year, and
Mhm.
pretty heavily. But there's a lot of concepts that are new to me, and I've been in business for 13 years, But
Right.
you know, it's it's a whole different ball game, and
It
you
it
know,
totally is. And I was talking to my sister about it, and she's like, I know nothing about crypto. So it's, and she has a Sasquatch coming to her. It's actually one of the signature squatches that I created just for her because she's my sister, and a supporter financially, actually,
uh-huh,
of the project in order to get her squatch. But she's she's happy to just keep it at that. She doesn't want to know anything. She just
uh-huh,
wants to know that she
yeah,
has a Sasquatch and that she's going to be getting monthly gifts.
hmm,
She's not interested in the behind the scenes stuff.
yeah. She didn't
Um,
want the nuts and bolts. Don't interest her.
yeah, not at this time. They might
Yeah,
later on.
yeah, that's
Um,
true.
yeah,
Yeah. So
because
how many NFTs did you have to make? I'm just curious. Like,
there's
did you?
10,000 of them.
Well, wait a minute. You say I mean, you generated 10,000 images, like
Yes.
one by one at a time.
No. So I generated all the elements individually.
Uh
So
huh.
I think there's 7 different Sasquatches and a dozen different backgrounds, and there's probably 6 or 7 guitars, and then golf clubs and lollipops and saxophones, and roses. How
Okay.
can you resist a Sasquatch holding a dozen roses?
All right.
I know I can't. But yeah, actually, that green guitar, the Tom Anderson Strat,
Uh huh.
is featured in there as well. It's one of the instruments. Um, Johnny Hyland's red Telecaster guitar is also one of them. I don't know if you're familiar with Johnny Hyland, the
Uh
guitarist.
uh.
He's a chicken picker. He's a phenomenal guitarist, and
Uh
his red Telecaster is what I used as the model. I just cartoonized it and plasticized it in Photoshop, and so I made all the different individual elements and their hats and bubble gum and cigarettes and glasses and things like that, and then put it through an NFT generator to get the random generation of 10,000.
oh, I see. And
Yeah.
so, wow, I didn't even know there was such a thing as an NFT generator.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
But I
you
guess
can,
if you're going to make 10,000 of them, you're going to want that tool.
yes, because a lot of time has gone into the creation of the squatches for sure. I'll send you a couple pictures when I send you the links.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
But I think
Because
the whole NFT thing is like that's something that I definitely haven't spent any time with, um, and I think mostly for me, the thing that makes me not even want to look at it very deeply is the quality of the images themselves. And I guess I maybe there's something I just don't understand, because to me it seems like why would somebody pay $1 million for this thing that looks like a 2-year-old did it,
right.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Heavily pixelated cartoon
Uh-huh.
face or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Mhm.
So I just can't. And I've even seen, some of these influencers, these framed images, if that's what you want to call them, on their walls, and they paid
Yep.
like a lot of money, and sometimes
Mhm.
really over $1 million, which is
Oh yeah.
it's it's kind of
Yep.
you think to yourself, is this really bringing any value at all to the holder? So this will be an interesting and probably my first attempt to really try and figure it out with your project. So
Okay. Well, I'll be happy to share the art, and you can let me know whether you like it or not.
okay,
Um, and I'm not really an artist by any stretch of the imagination, but I am pretty proud of my Sasquatches. I think they're pretty cute. Um,
uh,
yeah, I do like them. But I do understand what you mean, and I think a lot of the NFTs that are used for functionality are just kind of like almost boring. Like I
They're
minted a
not
couple.
inspiring.
No, or they're all the same. It's just like a
Hmm.
ticket, or the exact same image as all of the others, and it provides a utility. So this one has both. It has the training platform and the future metaverse events, as well as the Squatch gifts and the random bonus draws. But it also has the art element where they're all unique. Every Sasquatch is different,
Hmm.
and the rarity of the elements will determine, I guess, the size of the pool that you share in with the rarity bonus draws.
Kind
So
of entry, minimum entry is involved for a person that wants to get involved with something like this. Like, how much do they need to be okay with parting with in the
300 bucks.
about $300?
300 bucks. Yep, that's
Hmm.
the price for the whitelist mint and the first stage of mint, which starts on July 27th.
Hmm.
So there's still some whitelist spots available. I think I should double check that because we sponsored Austin Clark's Operation Give Back yesterday,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
his burpee challenge. So I
Nice.
haven't checked the whitelist to see if he filled up the spots in that or not.
Uh-huh.
But he did a little rundown on the Squatch Fund on his video,
And
which
I'm
was
just
great.
curious, can somebody get in with, I mean, do you take crypto also, or is this like a strictly, transfer to
Yeah,
cat? Like, what's the mechanics behind getting in
so
also?
it's the minting is in Matic on the
Mm,
Polygon blockchain. So there's a mint site which
mm-hmm.
will open on July 27th, and it's basically the equivalent of $300 in Matic.
I see.
And the
Uh-huh.
reason that we chose the Polygon blockchain to keep gas fees low,
Mm-hmm.
particularly for people who've invested in a Squatch, and they might want to sell it. There's no creator royalties for selling it on to somebody else. Um, so, to minimize gas fees for those transactions, because sometimes the Ethereum gas fees can get pretty high,
Mm-hmm.
particularly on,
Sometimes.
yeah, 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 sometimes. So Polygon it was, and Matic is, up and down, uh, with, and just to maintain consistency and fairness for all, we wanted to just say $300 in
Mm-hmm.
Matic, and we'll adjust the price throughout the mint period just to make sure that it stays around that level. And then the
Mm-hmm.
second stage of minting, I think it goes up to $400, and I'm hoping that that's where we cap it, because we want to sort of keep it affordable for everybody to have a Sasquatch if they want. And if they want to mint, if you want particularly a Sasquatch that's, holding a dozen roses, you might have to mint 2 or 3 before you get it. And then you can sell the others on OpenSea if you don't want to keep them.
Yeah.
But
I
that's one of the
wonder.
benefits to holding multiples, is that you'd be more eligible for the rarity draws.
Uh-huh. And what about possibly custom NFTs, to somebody's order for even more of an entry, or a
Yeah.
bit larger fee? Is there anything
Yeah,
like
we
that
could
in the
do
work?
that, because I have done the signature squatches for the trading team, as
Mm-hmm.
well as some of our sponsors in the background. So there's 12 signatures squatches. There's one called Jenny. It's
Mm-hmm.
holding my guitar, and it's a pink Sasquatch with bunny ears.
Yeah.
It's pretty cute. But
Well,
yeah, we could definitely do that. We could say, yeah, design a squatch. That might actually be a fun giveaway, and I'll make a Sasquatch, holding or riding a motorcycle.
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking
Yeah,
of,
yeah, yeah, with a big
uh,
Titano logo on its chest.
uh-huh. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a, the wife and I, we both ride a lot. So,
Hmm.
typically we'll get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and we'll go fire up the bikes and go have, coffee or something.
Nice.
By 6 o'clock, you're
Yeah.
sitting there, you got the whole, nobody's out yet, and it's pretty nice. And Dunkin'
Yeah.
Donuts has pretty good coffee.
That's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
first thing in the morning, it would be nice and fresh.
Uh-huh, exactly.
Yeah.
So like today I'm having my coffee, which it sucks. I don't know why I can't make a good cup of coffee. I just don't get it. I mean, but I've stopped even trying. So
Really? That's terrible.
yeah,
Don't stop trying.
yeah, I
You got
can't.
to keep trying.
I mean, I could go to some of the most dives of dives. Like they have better
They have the
coffee.
best coffee. The
Yeah,
dives have the best coffee. Yeah. And the best poached eggs on toast and bacon. And yeah, now you're making me want to hit up an old greasy spoon diner.
You just brought up a memory, and now I'm going to have to let it loose.
All
But
right.
when I was working in New Jersey before my business days, I was a truck driver,
Hmm.
and so I would haul mail from Newark, New Jersey to Capitol Heights, Maryland, in a 53-foot trailer. So I was
Hmm.
driving the big trucks,
Yep.
and I would be driving to the depot to pick up my load, and I would always see the school bus that was parked on the side of the road and people standing outside, and the bus looked like it was not operational in any way, shape, or form. It just looked like it was up on blocks or something, and it was pretty awful looking. And I always just wondered what people were doing there. Well, one time I was waiting in line to get my ticket at the office, and these two guys were talking about the Taylor ham, egg, and cheese sandwiches that this guy made in that bus.
Yep.
And I said, "You're telling me that that's a restaurant?" And these guys said, "That is the best Taylor ham, egg, and cheese sandwich that you can get in the state." And I
Wow.
said, "Come on." So I went over there one day and I said, "Let me just see." And I pulled over and I went in there, and I started talking to the guy, and he says, "Come on into the bus." So I went in there, and I'm telling you that I think if the average person saw what I saw, they would never eat anything that was in there. Uh, but I did eat the sandwich, and I'll be damned if it wasn't the best Taylor ham, egg, and cheese sandwich
Wow.
I ever had. But this definitely was pretty disgusting in there. Very, very old, and
Yep.
and run down. But the guy
Hmm.
knew how to cook. So
Yeah.
goes to what you were saying. Some of the diviest of dives,
Yes.
turn out to
Yeah.
be real gems.
Absolutely. Yeah. They sling the best beers and have the best live music, and yeah, make the best
Well,
breakfasts and
and I'll tell you what, I would love to interview that guy now, because I just think about the entrepreneurial spirit that that guy had to
yeah.
do what he was doing, and slug it out in that horrific weather, because there was no climate control in that thing. And
Right.
New Jersey's very hot and humid in the summer,
Hmm.
so he definitely was paying his dues.
Yeah. Yeah. We used to summer in New Jersey when I was a kid. We'd go down to Cape May and Wildwood
Oh
every
yeah.
summer. Yeah.
Well, I lived in Wildwood for a while.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Wildwood.
Yeah, because the coast was there, so we were
Yeah.
always on the boardwalks, which is something you don't see where I'm at. I'm in Arizona now, and it's just
Yeah. No
water
boardwalks.
is
Yep.
not one of the words you use a lot.
No. No, definitely not. I was in Arizona last year at Guitar Pickers in Phoenix.
Ah, well,
Yeah.
that's not far from where I'm at. So next time you're ever there, you got to let me know.
Okay, well, there's a US Egg right close by. They
Uh
have
huh.
amazing coffee.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
Well,
Amazing coffee.
so you
Great.
traveled to Phoenix for a guitar convention?
No, I travel a lot just for fun. So, and wherever I go, I have to include guitar shopping in that, or at least
I
it doesn't
see.
have to be shopping like buying. It can also just be guitar looking and touching.
Right.
So, yeah. So I've hit up that shop a couple times when I've been going through Phoenix. I drove across the U.S. quite a few times during COVID
Uh huh.
because I was in Australia when COVID started and they locked the world down.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was trying to come back to Canada and they wouldn't let me in because I was non-essential. So I got stuck in the US because I couldn't get a flight back
Right.
to Australia because they jacked up the prices so high. It was like going to be $25,000 just to fly home.
That's kind of
So
crazy.
what
So,
I
are you separated
yeah.
from your family at this point?
I was, yeah, I was all by myself and staying with friends and
Wow.
just kind of like slumming my way across. So I'd been renting a car, but the price of rental cars had gone through the roof, and
Yeah.
so I thought, well, I'm just going to buy something. So I was looking to buy a truck, and a buddy of mine in Goldendale, Washington, called me, and he said, "I hear you're looking to get a truck, and I have a truck. So if you want it, come and get it, no charge. Just you just have to make your way up here to get it." So I flew up to Washington, spent a few days there, and then drove all the way back to Nashville. and that was great. And then I drove over back to California, and then up through into Utah and up into the northwestern states, and then crossed into BC when they opened the border. And then I was able to drive across Canada, and here I am.
You've got it seems like you've got a lot of energy in there.
I do. I
You got a
do. And you
real
know why?
fire in the belly.
It's because I love life. I think so many things just fascinate me, and I can't possibly learn enough every single day. I'm always learning more. And I was actually doing some crypto trading courses this morning because I want to get better at it as well. I'm
Hmm.
not one of the traders on the team, but I'd like to have the wherewithal to at least follow along with them
Yeah.
as they're talking and rationalizing. So
Hmm.
they did recommend a course to me, and I'm currently taking that course now and learning as much as I can. So
Well, I expect some big things are going to happen because when you educate yourself about anything, become better understand it, you do better in it. It's just the way it
yeah,
works.
I agree. And it's funny, because my recommendation was just put all of it in Titano. Because I'm thinking to myself, like, initially, the first month, your rewards are going to be a little bit thin. The
Yeah.
second month, they're going to be bigger. And then after, 2 or 3 or 4 years of different investing in protocols like this, the rewards could be pretty significant for each NFT.
Hmm.
I know that secretly the trading team has this goal that they want to, with the first round of Squatch gifts that are given out 90 days after trading starts, they are hoping that they'll be able to dividend or portion out the equivalent amount of what people paid for their NFT. So
Uh,
over the ensuing, years, everything's gravy on top of that. So
well,
I know that's
let's,
secretly their goal.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lofty goal. I hope it happens.
Mm,
And especially like in this environment right now, you know.
yes. This is a great environment to be getting in, though.
Hmm.
It's definitely a good environment to be starting rather than starting, say, in April, where everything was sort of like, you know, it was like the roaring 20s.
Hmm.
And sort of now we're kind of in that lull of the 1930s.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm hoping that we've hit bottom and we're starting to bounce a
I
little
was
bit.
watching some guys that seem to know a lot more than I do, and they're kind of split on whether there's the bot whether we've seen the bottom yet or not, and just how much lower it could go. So I don't know, but I think the thing that is so for me anyway that is somewhat frustrating is that if you're trying to understand the ecosystem as a whole, obviously you're going to have to go to other sources, people that you think, or at least they advertise that they understand what's happening. They understand market forces. They understand where things are going
Hmm.
based off of their understanding of how things have gone so far. And yet at the same time, with all these experts, you have opposing predictions. And so as the person's trying make sense of, well, but this guy says we're at the bottom and this guy says another 10,000 to go before we're at the bottom,
Yeah.
or how come this guy said Bitcoin was going to be 100,000 by now and now it's under 20. And
Hmm.
and so you have all of these people who seemingly have some real street cred, but
Yeah.
things did not turn out.
Completely conflicting opinions. Mm.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of frustrating, but and so you kind of have to, like, it's kind of like watching the news. I think I find it like that. If you're looking at CNN, if you're looking at Fox, if you're looking at those things, you're not really getting news. And
Right.
you've got to look other places. It's not like you don't disregard what you're hearing there, but it has to be other input
Yeah.
stations,
Yeah.
also. And it's
That's
like
right.
and then you need some time to kind of like actually review what all these people have said and see what actually happened. And then over a period of time, you can kind of get a sense of what might really be happening, but
Yeah, and
it
yeah, because
takes
you're
a long
getting sort
time.
of opinions and facts and things
Exactly.
coming from opposing sources. And then I guess you
Hmm.
have to use your own reason and intuition to nut out what is actually right
Yeah.
for you.
And then
And
you
what might
need
be right for you
history.
might not be right for someone else, you know?
Well, the thing that always gets me is you might think it's right, but then history shows you a different picture.
Mhm.
So, you think it's going
That's
one
true.
way and it's going to
Yep.
happen, but at the end of the day, it didn't go that way. And so that's what's kind of frustrating for me is like, you do see what looks promising. You're listening to people, they say it looks promising, but then, there are elements that are out of our control. And, and some of it seems like purposeful. Like, I think that to me, it feels like, especially the U.S. government, is very hostile to crypto, and
Yes.
they don't want people to do well and have this means of taking care of themselves and calling all the shots. And it's
Well,
kind of
that
the
goes
nature.
down to control, right?
Hmm.
Control and steering, I guess. Um, I think there are probably some crypto friendly, I guess, Congress people
Hmm.
with a new bill that they put out last week, was it? I don't recall offhand because I'm not American, so I don't
Hmm.
follow too closely. But I do know that as soon as the white paper came out, people were just jumping down our throats saying you can't use the words passive income and dividends. And I said, well, why? Because it's not a U.S. incorporated company. But I didn't realize that it actually made it illegal for U.S. investors to be involved, even if they're tracking it for their own tax purposes and reporting it for their own tax purposes.
Hmm.
Um, there could be some problematic um, outcomes there for American investors. So we wanted to make it, U.S. friendly, and that's why we went this way of rewriting it. And
Yeah, that's
our
what I'm talking about. It seems very predatory to me.
it does, and our legal team is based in Hong Kong and Australia. Um, and they were talking back and forth and saying, well, you can word it however you want. At the end of the day, you're giving gifts to members of a club that hold NFTs, or you're paying dividends to holders of NFTs. So,
Hmm.
well, in this case, now we're giving gifts to members of a club that hold NFTs, and it's an exclusive club. And if they have a Sasquatch NFT, then they also get to have this training program and metaverse event. So it's actually made us create better utilities for the
Hmm.
NFTs, having this U.S. legislation
Hmm.
changes and things hanging in the background, which I think is great
No,
personally. And I kind of love that stuff too.
that's typically what happens. It's like, well, that's life, right? You on one hand you're cursing all of your hardships and your hurdles, but in the end it makes you stronger.
That's right. And as long as you're willing to be flexible and shift on the fly and incorporate those new things rather than pushing against them. And I,
Hmm.
I think I spent a lot of time pushing against the inevitable. And I think a lot of people do. You want things to turn out a certain way.
Hmm.
And I'm just looking, back at my career as an engineer and um, doing environmental remediation work. It's if it's not mandated by law, a lot of companies don't want to do it because it's very
Hmm.
expensive,
Yeah.
very costly. So, I would be presenting reports to clients, and a lot of them were willing to accept those reports and recommendations, but a lot of them also just sort of pushed back and went, "Well, yeah, we don't have the money for that, so you're gonna have to find a different way." Like,
Hmm.
well, yeah, sometimes you can't always find that different way, and other times you gotta roll with the punches and do what you can.
Well, people
So,
could probably do more than they think, and they won't unless they're forced to do it.
oh, yeah,
So
yeah, I
that's
agree. Yeah,
force can
yeah,
go a long way towards having you reach goals that you never thought you could reach. But we're
yeah.
always, we're always trying to stay comfortable, so we don't really want to spend too much time there because we say, well, that would be difficult, and that would take money out of reserves, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah. But I think you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable because eventually, like if you wedge yourself onto such a tiny shelf, that
Hmm.
there's no flexibility to go left, right, or forward because you might fall. Um, you're making yourself so uncomfortable in your own comfort zone that any disruption to that is going to cause huge waves and huge anxiety and massive differences. And you can't control all the variables. There, if you're wedged on that neat shelf, there could be, who knows, like an earthquake or wind
Hmm.
direction change, and all of a sudden, the things that you are in control of, you're no longer in control of.
You have a high tolerance for pain, and that's why you think that way. And and I can relate to that because I have always say to myself, and it's true for the misses also, we have a very high tolerance for pain. And but not all entrepreneurs are that way. There's plenty of entrepreneurs who are looking for that shelf, and they put self-imposed ceilings on the
Mm,
work that they do, and they're just not interested in the reaching for the highest of the high.
right.
Their goal setting is much more moderate in their minds. Whereas sounds like you and I can relate to this myself too. There is no ceiling. It's like I want
Yeah.
everything that I can get.
And that's going to change over time. What I wanted 2 years ago is vastly different from what I want now.
Hmm.
And it's not just in terms of want of material things, it's in terms of want to see what I can do with my own potential, and how I can grow and continue learning. And I've always sort of been a fiend for information. I've I guess that sort of like speaks to my background as well, in terms of education and schooling, and then going into, I guess at the time, we're talking about 30 years ago, when I was starting my career as an engineer, and I graduated as a chemical engineer. Environment wasn't even a thing back then. There might be
Hmm.
one environmental course, at university, and you took it if you wanted to go be a water treatment engineer. um, and now it's like an entire field of study, and there's different layers of degrees for environmental engineering. So it's a field that evolved rapidly, sort of like
Hmm.
crypto and DeFi. It's like evolving rapidly, and I think
Yeah.
I love that. That's what I love about it. Is it's pushing the boundaries of the currently existing knowledge, and everybody has a cooperative hand in that. It's
Hmm.
not like information coming down from on high given to the masses to do with what they please. It's
Hmm.
everybody's learning, and everybody's pushing, and sharing the collective benefit from that, which is pretty cool.
Well, it's always nice when you're working with A players, and you're an A player yourself. I mean, because you create an environment that is so far removed from what you see in the regular world. And I don't think until somebody really experiences that, they don't understand what it could be like, how empowering it is.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know, for some reason, it's just you're given this life, and there's not a whole lot of instructions that come with it, and in large part, you're at the mercy of your parents and how they see the world and themselves. And it's that way for quite some time.
Hmm.
And hopefully you start to be interested in what's on the other side, and you start branching out and growing, and then you start considering some of the other voices that are seeing the world the same way you are. And I think that for me is the liberating part. So it's like hearing from people like yourself, even myself, those two voices are out there, kind of broadcasting that there's something different than what you think that, well, this is all you have
Hmm.
available to you. You think this is all you could do. Well, no. And it doesn't take a whole lot to get started with it. And you just turn on your computer and go to this website and listen to that podcast or whatever, and it could open up a whole a door to your life that changes everything.
Oh,
And
absolutely. Yep.
and it
It
could
just
just be
takes
one
one little
video.
seed. Yeah. Yeah. One video, one article, even just one conversation with a stranger.
That's a
And
hell of a power.
mm, oh yeah, especially if you're open to it. If you're open to the change, and you say, "Okay, I've learned something new today. What was it, and how can I improve myself from that?"
Hmm.
Um, you're continually growing then every day. You know,
What
Go
the
ahead.
thing that's interesting to me is like when I look at views on videos that deal with these kinds of topics that we're talking about, you're looking at hundreds or low thousands. But if I did a search for how to put on this kind of lipstick, it's got millions of views.
Isn't that sad?
It blows my mind,
Yeah,
because like this information is freely available, and yet you see where the average gravitates to. And you just think, but on the other hand, that could be a depressing idea or depressing realization. But the way I learned to look at it is that it leaves the door wide open for those that are open minded. And really, the amount of competition that is standing in your way is next to nothing, because not too
yeah.
many people are engaged in this kind of mental thought.
No, no, and it once you get past a certain, I guess, level of understanding, it
Hmm.
becomes cooperative rather than competitive,
Yeah.
and that is, it's refreshing to see,
Hmm.
and it's really enjoyable to see people join you on that road less traveled, because there's no traffic jams on that road less traveled, because like you said,
Mm-mm.
there's not many people on it, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so it's, yeah, it's, I don't know, it's really enlightening to become enlightened,
Hmm.
which is great. And like, there's by no stretch of the imagination would I call myself like a most enlightened being. It's funny, I could never meditate. People would always say, "Oh, you have a really stressful job, you should learn how to meditate."
Uh,
And I'd sit down and I would try and clear my brain of all thoughts, and like thoughts would just come flying in from everywhere, and I'd be writing mental lists of everything I had to do as soon as I stopped meditating, and waiting for that alarm to ring to signify that I'd actually sat there quietly for 20 minutes. I never made it to 20 minutes. I'm
yeah.
actually really good at meditation now, but I do it quickly, and it's more, it's substance rather than length of time,
Hmm.
quality over quantity, of clearing away the mess that doesn't matter, so that the message can be very clear of what do I need to do today, and who do I need to connect with, and how can I take what I've accumulated and learned and share it. And
Hmm.
we're so lucky, Tony, to have this media, the internet. You
Hmm.
can reach gazillions of people. If they want to
Yeah.
hear your message and they're ready to hear it, it's
Yeah.
out there. Like you said, the information is freely available. And it's interesting how everyone has their own unique take on how to amalgamate the information that they've learned and how to express it and share it. So
Well,
it's
I to me, you talk about enlightenment. I just think that that is a method of getting out of your own way, and
mm,
learning what it is that the things that you're doing, the thought processes that are stopping you from feeling uh, energized, fulfilled, and dealing with those things. And it's like so. And I think that for a lot of people, you have to hit the bottom first, and that was true for me, where I
yep.
just had to be like at the total end of my wits. And, I had to, because at some point, you have to be able to look at your life and just say, you know what, I'm responsible for this place that I'm at. And even though maybe this person over here is wrong, or did a terrible thing to me, that doesn't and shouldn't dictate how I finish the day.
No.
And and so, but a lot of people think that they feel justified in their anger, their resentment, revenge. They don't understand how that's holding them back. And so,
Absolutely.
until you get to that place where you're willing to take responsibility. And I think that when you were talking about meditation, I think that's just it's a tool for, and maybe for people to quiet the mind and get them ready for the realization that they are their own worst enemy in many ways.
Hmm.
And until you can look at that in the eye and say, "Wow, I see what I'm doing there is really hurting me," And, I better, instead of condemning yourself, just say, I better stop doing that.
Right.
Well, so what do I do now in its place?
Yep.
And, you do a search for that. So, and then I think that's where, the company you keep could be helpful. Because if now
Oh,
you're
absolutely. Yeah.
now you're open, but if you're around the person that says you're a terrible moron, then your chances of enlightenment are probably next to nothing.
Right. Or even, if you're always associating with people who are on sort of like a downward slide,
Yeah.
and everything is always a problem and nothing is ever good, then it's really hard to keep yourself buoyed up and really to, if you're not able to maintain a positive mental attitude and a
Hmm.
positive money mindset, and you always say things like, oh, I can't afford this and I can't do that, and I'd love to buy some Titano but I can't afford it, um, then that's going to be true for you.
Hmm.
And if you look at it from the opposite side and say, I'm going to make this happen regardless of what anyone says. It helps to have the right support cast in your life, I suppose, that just say, yeah, this is cool. Let's talk about good ideas.
For a lot of people, it's necessary to have other people around them to,
Hmm.
like you say, buoy them up. But also for some, they don't need that either. I don't. I don't. I mean, I feel like it's nice. It would be nice to have those things, but I don't need it to. If I don't have it close by, I'm not going to hide and
Right.
do nothing. And
Yeah.
so I'm just curious. With you. Um, I think that you're probably a heavy. You're an influencer. I would think that there's probably your natural born leader. It seems to be like whether you take the lead, whether because you want it or it just naturally defaults to you because of your level of competence. I don't know. What do you think it is? I mean, do you
Yeah,
just?
I think it just sort of naturally defaults to me. I tend not to step up and say,
Hmm.
hey, follow the leader. Um, but yeah, I do have sort of, I guess, almost like a pull of energy to similar minded people
Hmm.
that that will connect with me. And I always like to say, let's talk about great ideas rather than things like, hi, how are you? Because that's an invitation for negativity, isn't it? Oh, well, my lumbago's acting up or whatever. But if you engage in a conversation and you legitimately and genuinely want to know what the other people are thinking, I
Hmm.
think people respond to that, and they have a tendency then to,
Oh,
um
they respond to it one way or the other. It's either
yeah.
going to be a positive or a negative. They pick
Right.
they pick their plate and cup and move somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't like talking about it matters. I mean, that's true. You know.
Oh, I know that's true. I remember I had an employee once, and I remember him slamming down his coffee mug at the conference room table and saying, "You think everything is made of rainbows and fuzzy bunnies?" And then he walked out of the conference room. I said, "Yes, I do."
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
But and the worst part of it is like the older you get, the less small talk. I mean, the greater distance from small talk you want between you and anyone else. And it's like, even when you meet somebody new, you're like, great, let's sit down and talk about something that matters to
Yeah,
you.
that's right. Yeah. How can I show Tony how to put lipstick on today?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It is very true, and I think I know the reason why. And I think the reason why is because time is short,
Yeah.
life is short, and you think about all the things that you wanted to do 20 years ago, and
Hmm.
now you're 20 years ahead, and then you think, wow, in 20 years from now, I'm probably going to be walking with a bit of a limp, and maybe I won't have health and energy available to me to do these things. So I want to do them now. I
Hmm.
want to do as much as I can every single day and suck the life out of every day, because you don't have unlimited days. And
Hmm.
and as you get older, you start to realize that,
Yeah,
right?
you get a real sense of mortality, the older
Hmm.
you get, and it's like you like, oh boy, my time here it's timed.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
timer is ticking.
Yeah, it was actually a fellow engineer that he rolled out a tape measure on the it was like a drafting table. We're having a meeting, and it was like an 80-inch tape measure, and he pulls it out and he's like, you know, you're here, and he sort of like motions to the middle of it, and he says, and I'm here, like 3/4 of my time is done. I've only got this
Mhm.
little bit left. So he was trying to explain why he was retiring early,
Uh-huh.
and I completely understood. And
Yeah.
of course, at that time, I was still thinking, I got to do the hard yards. I got to put in as many hours as I possibly can. I have to be the best engineer I can be. And then my reward will come later at the end. And
Well, for some people, the work is the thing that's rewarding. So, it's
my
not
work was
something that
rewarding.
matters.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I loved what I did. And I loved it from the point of view of, I don't do that work anymore. I loved it from the point of view of helping people to understand the impact of their actions on the environment, the water and the soil and the air from a different way.
Hmm.
I'm not climbing up a tree and chaining myself there or standing in front of bulldozers, but instead I'm trying to say, look, like ignorance has held you back because you don't know the consequences of these actions. So can I help
Hmm.
you with that? And and that was really rewarding from that point of view of things. But what happened was I got diagnosed with a brain tumor, and it was almost instantly after that I realized I'm not doing what I'm put on earth to do. And while being a voice and advocate for environmental responsibility was a great thing, I was also suppressing my own creativity, my own desire to learn new things and branch out. And I was sort of like fitting myself into this square box when I was definitely a round peg. And
Hmm.
I wanted to be doing so many more things. So that's what sort of started my journey of change, which has brought
So,
me here.
that did instill some sense of urgency for you?
I think so. Yeah, it definitely did wake me up to a lot of things. Like I think back to my stepson's wedding. I missed half of it because I was on the phone to a client who was having a benzene release,
Uh-huh.
and I was watching my stepson get married from afar while I was on the phone. And I can never get that time back. You know,
Hmm.
um, but your question was more about urgency in terms of like I have to do all these things before I can feel like I'm done or I'm satisfied or I've done
Uh-huh.
enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, there is a little bit of that, but I understand now that I'm on the right path for me, and it's uh, it's exciting, and it's a fun path too. It's one that I'm really enjoying, and I think that's giving me more energy to keep pushing forward and doing new things, and
Well,
that's also what's keeping me healthy.
I think that that's reflected in your face, and I see that in your face. And
Oh, good.
yeah, I would say so. Now, let me just ask you a question: Is that tumor taken care of, or is that something that's still like a ticking time bomb?
No, it's pretty well managed. It's
Uh-huh.
there. So it's like an alien in my head that I have to get used to living with. It's not huge,
Hmm.
um, but it's
And not
yeah,
growing.
it's. I'm hoping not. No, I think it's pretty stable at the size it is. I just recently had a scan and got
Hmm.
the thumbs up from my doctor that I'm good to carry on doing what I'm doing.
So you
So
get to carry this around. I would think that that's a lot to carry around with the idea that this thing it could at any time present some life altering changes. So that's
it
pretty.
could, but I'm pretty tuned into them now. So I did, when it was first diagnosed, I did 2.5 years of chemotherapy drug,
Uh-huh.
um, like a self-inflicted uh, tablet, basically combined with an ergot medication to penetrate the blood-brain barrier, and it was pretty horrible. So the
Hmm.
health side effects, the mental side effects, the emotional side effects of doing that, every time I'm taking this cocktail of pills, like you have to have a certain amount of fortitude, I guess, to
Hmm.
ingest those. But it worked. It worked to the point that it shrunk it so it was manageable, and I had no earth-shattering headaches. I had no blindness in my left eye because
And
it's
was
right
that
near
was
my optic
happening?
nerve. Yeah.
Wow.
So once it shrunk, it was great. It was like, okay, it's gone, you know.
Hmm.
And in some sense of the word, it was, but it came back. So I wound up going to India and having Ayurvedic treatment there, and it came back again. So
Hmm.
I think there's a reason for it. There's either it's there as a reminder that I need to do the things I need to do and get my messages out there and leave a proper legacy, the legacy that I want to leave, um, before my time is, it's too late and I can't do it. So
Hmm.
there is that sense of urgency.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know that it's well managed, and always looking for natural ways to heal it, cure it, keep it under control.
Hmm.
But, yeah, so
Well,
that's
it's
part of my
always
book too.
it just always blows my mind when I see and meet people who are dealing with what I would consider to be just extremely challenging situations, and yet they just carry on with the day. It doesn't stop them. They keep going, and I want to be like that, Um,
You have to be like that, Tony, because if you're not, like I could just lay on the couch there and wallow in self-pity every day, but where's that going to get me? It's not going to get me any closer to my goals. It's not going to help me help anybody, to be like that. But also, there's no reason for it, because right now I feel great, and
hmm.
I honestly wouldn't have even gone for the scan, and I would have just continued living in the delusion that there is nothing wrong with my
Hmm.
brain, and there is nothing wrong with my brain. So I don't see any reason to cut into a perfectly good brain.
Yeah.
um so i um I believe that it's either manageable,
Hmm.
for the long term, or I think I'm pretty tuned into what the symptoms would be,
Hmm.
if it was to start getting worse. So given that I'm not having any headaches or vision issues,
Yeah.
or any unusual. The first time it was unusual smells. I
That's
could smell
crazy.
orange peels, and like pot roast. I'd walk in the
Uh-huh.
house and be like, I smell pot roast," but I didn't. It was just something that was, yeah, uh,
It's
very
crazy how the
unusual.
brain can produce those those ideas, And
Yeah.
I saw something on a video once where they had a woman on a gurney, and they did have her brain exposed, and she was awake, and they were manipulating her sense of smell also,
Wow.
while she was awake. And
Hmm.
I mean, she was sensing peanut butter and all kinds of things that wasn't anywhere there. And so,
Yeah.
when I see and hear about things like this, I just think, man, we don't really understand the nature of reality very well, because this is telling you that there's something else going on here. This is really
Oh yeah.
weird.
Yeah. Well, the brain is like a whole universe in itself, like it's a fascinating piece of equipment. And we're so blessed to have one, if you think about it. And it's funny because I remember talking to the doctor first about that. And he was basically saying it's like the pressure that's inflicted by the tumor on, nerves and other bits and pieces around it, is what causes those ripple effects
Hmm.
and other odd sensations, throughout, that might cause my left eyelid to flicker or my vision to get clouded over, which incidentally doesn't happen anymore at all.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's I think another good mindset trick. I visualize that tumor every day, and I visualize it shrinking and disappearing.
Hmm.
So that's
I am, and I really do this every day. Every day that I'm still here, I feel like is, I tell my daughter, of course, I feel like I have a lot to do yet, and I want to be here for another, 55 years. But I know that uh, whenever I go, whenever that is, at least I know that I'm giving it my best shot, and
yes.
that's what's important.
That is 100% what's important. And you should also let her know that if you do manage to make it another 55 years, that she might be changing your diapers and picking up dad's drool.
We talk about that. We talk about that, and she said I don't have anything to worry about. So, uh,
Oh, that's good. That's
yeah,
good.
uh
Yeah.
huh. So,
Yeah.
I don't I bring these things up all the time because I think it's the nature of this reality that we have to deal with these things. And like, why would why put it off until it happens? Let's get ready for it, and let's start
Mm,
managing, so that if and when it does happen, it's not it's not going to destroy everything, and
right. Yeah.
you're not taken totally by surprise. So I'm a big proponent of easing into whatever
Hmm.
is in front of you, and
Yeah.
so. But I know that's a lot. That's another subject that's very uncomfortable for people to talk about. They just don't want to talk
Oh,
about the
yeah, I know.
possibility of their own demise. And I say possibility; it's a certainty at some point. It's the only
It is.
thing
It's
that,
a certainty. Yeah, there's absolutely
yeah,
no way around it. And but it's a significant mental hurdle to sit down and write your will out, or to give power of attorney to somebody over your health and your finances.
hmm
I remember the first time I wrote up a will. I think I was in my mid 30s when I did my first will, and I was like, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think
hmm
about who gets what after I die. Who's going to take care of my guitars and who's going to, you know.
Hopefully, it's somebody that likes them, and you don't
That's
want
right.
those things getting carted off to a pawn shop, and
Mm. Well, and it's interesting because like I'm going to loop back to the Squatch Fund now. That was one of the things that I insisted got written into our contracts was what happens in the event of complete death or disability of the entire team,
hmm
which is unlikely to happen, unless we're all traveling together and there's
right,
some horrific
hmm
accident, which again is likely to like not ever happen because we're all from different places. Um, but that was putting in place something to manage what would happen in the event of the entire team being wiped out. So that's also taken care of in that, but it was very uncomfortable for especially a couple of the guys are younger and they were like, I don't want to think about that.
yeah,
Like, but you got to think about it,
yeah.
so
That's
yeah.
why I'm saying it. To me, it's so refreshing to talk to people like yourself because you've already reached a certain level. So there's this affinity, that we
Mhm.
have. Like you could finish my sentences, I could finish some of yours, and it's like it's just so nice, not to be like where you because I guess and like I said, sometimes you can kind of feel sort of isolated, and you think, gosh, how many is there anyone else that feels the same way within a 3 square miles of
Yeah.
my house, and and so but usually people like us are so busy
Mm.
doing things that you don't get a chance to do that much hobnobbing, at least I don't, at my
Yeah.
level of success has got me busy all the time, and I work every day, and I
Hmm.
haven't had a vacation in 13 years,
Yeah.
uh, and I just don't even know how I could even
Oh, i
do it.
i totally understand that.
It's just kind of
Yeah.
crazy, but you know, um, but it's really nice to it's like when I first started doing this, I used to think to myself, I was like, man, I'd make all these notes, and I gotta ask enough questions uh, to last at least 30 minutes. I gotta make it at
Mm.
least the last 30 minutes. It was always like, oh, that was going to be very difficult, and you know what's actually difficult? It's getting it and doing it, ending it within 3 hours. That has been what's proving difficult,
Yeah.
and and I've already heard from a number of uh, fingers on a hand that they're too long, and
Mm.
people don't like that because it's too long. The camera is not changing. You're not editing. It's just free flow. There's pauses. Yeah. I'm just like, well, it is what it is, and
Yeah.
that's how I talk, and that's how it goes down. And I don't like those videos where they edit every sentence and it just
Hmm.
runs, and it's very disjointing for me. So
It is, yeah, but it does take out the slurps when I'm drinking my water.
so I need this. So to me, it's like kind of like a therapy, you
That's
know.
great.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Well, and
I
it's providing a service too. So it's not just you that needs it, it's the people that are watching that need it too.
yeah.
And, I confess I was making spaghetti one night and I was watching one of yours and I had it on, I sped it up so I could
Uh-huh.
make my spaghetti and watch the entire episode. And, uh, and it was good. It was enjoyable. It was like I was hanging out with Tony and
You know, that's
cooking.
what I've read. That's what I've read from a number of people. And they were just like, "Well, I put it on in the background and I'm just doing my thing."
Yeah. And every now and then you tweak on something that is of interest to you
Yeah.
and you circle back around and say, hang on a minute, I'm going to rewind that and listen again
I'll tell you
because
the
you
thing that surprised me the most. I walked in on the missus one time and she was listening to one of my shows on there. And I said, "What are you doing?" Like, what do you mean? I said, "Why are you listening to one of my programs?" She's like, "It's interesting."
yeah,
And I thought, wow, that, okay. I
that's
mean,
cool. Yeah.
yeah. So, if the missus can watch
Yeah,
it,
that's right. Yeah.
I guess, you can cut yourself a little bit of slack.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, your biggest fan and harshest critic all wrapped into one. And she's enjoying your show. So, yeah, so you must be doing something right.
Well, what I really wanted to do was just make it so that we could get to know all of the fellow investors in the Discord, because you see all
Hmm.
these, you just see a name and, a few lines of copy there that whatever it is that they put down, it just
Yeah.
seems so inadequate to me. It's like, I either want to know more about that person or, you know what I mean?
Or not. Yeah.
Or not. I've been thinking about how to handle those too. Um, but the ones for sure, that you think you want to hear from, I figured, you know what, let's just do something like this and maybe one a week or
Hmm.
two if I'm really feeling spry.
Yep.
But and I just thought, oh, it would be so nice because we're people, and
Yeah.
it just seems like unfortunately, like the whole online thing doesn't always give you a real sense of who you're dealing with.
It doesn't. You can be anyone you want behind a keyboard.
Yeah,
Especially when you have like a, cartoonized photo or something. You can be anyone you want. And for the longest time, people thought I was a dude on there, so I just changed my profile picture to my actual face.
yeah,
Yeah, because I got sick of being called bro and
yeah,
sir,
bro.
but they still do. They still call me bro.
Yeah. I suspect
Yeah.
there's probably others in there too that are doing the same thing, because they probably don't want it. They probably are harassed a lot, and like, I don't know, do you get any kind of like treatment that you consider to be, unwanted now that it's out in the open
Um,
that you're female?
no, not so much. No,
Hmm.
not as much as I used to get on Facebook. It
Oh
would be
yeah.
like, yeah, yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, people would look through other people's friends lists and send me friend requests and, "Oh, hi, I like your smile." Like, thanks.
Yeah.
But I don't actually meet people through Facebook. I'd rather meet like in person. If you're going to meet
Yeah.
someone and say, "Hi, I like your smile," it would be better if it's not somebody looking at your picture on someone else's friends list.
Well, if Titano does really well, maybe we're
When
gonna have to.
Titano does really well.
Okay, that's good. We should have like some kind of yacht trip where everybody meets like on a
Yeah.
floating yacht. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. Yep. We could
So
do like a rock and roll cruise with Sasquatches playing guitars.
listen, I
Yeah.
really love that. And I definitely make time for that. I really would. I would make time
Yeah.
for it.
Oh
I got
yeah, I
big
think
plan. I got
it
big
would be
plans
fun.
for Titano. So
Good. I would love
and
to hear about those plans.
well, one of it's empty lot next door, and that's where my 8,000 square foot building is going to go.
Oh,
So,
cool.
so Titano's
And that's
already
for
paid for
your
three installments.
nice.
Uh huh.
That's
So,
your honey plant. You're gonna
hmm
use that
yeah,
for bees and honey. Yeah. Right
yeah.
on.
I'm gonna use it for a lot of things, but
Hmm.
8,000 square feet is big.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good size.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, but
Great.
it's like I'm looking at the price just recently. The last 24 hours, it's moved up quite a bit.
It has. Yeah. And I like that it's been so stable.
Hmm.
Everybody was just, you get new people coming into the community and trashing on it and saying, "Oh, is this project dead?" and all that stuff. And you think, well, no, it's hung in. It's hung in at that level, and little
It is a good
blips
thing.
and stuff. It's really a good thing.
Mhm.
Um, Now, and people say, "Well, yeah, but you didn't buy in when it was way high." And I say, "Well, yeah, I did actually."
I did
And
too.
and I can still see the potential, and I have spreadsheets and I have calculators, and I use them, and I can see that hanging in with Titano is a good thing. And
It's
there's
times.
so
It's
many.
time frames.
It's time frames, yeah, and I think that's a lot of the problem in crypto is it's like instant gratification is what's sought, and this isn't an instant gratification project. This
I
is a
think
long term.
I would agree with that. And but there's unfortunately another aspect of it too that I see is like for someone that's used to doing this kind of thing. Unfortunately, there's also the history that a lot of projects don't last very long. And
That's
so they're
true.
thinking the reason why they want it to happen fast is because they're afraid it won't last. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
and so there's that. I mean, that's just that's the elephant in the room. Is that people are like, well, yeah, it's here today, but will it be here tomorrow?
Yeah. Yeah. And I've gone in cautiously, not with a whole bag or anything, but I've gone into a couple projects like that didn't
Hmm.
survive,
Yeah.
that looked great on paper. And then, yeah,
Hmm.
then your dollars are gone. But I even came into Titano, with just like a fairly modest investment. So I wound up with 2,000 Titano is what I bought to start at, I think 17 cents a Titano.
Hmm.
And yeah, now I'm in much larger and just doing consistent and constant buys throughout, like every week. And I'm I'm pretty happy with my position now.
Well,
Um,
because I saw that you're working towards T-Rex status.
yeah.
Have you reached that
Yeah.
yet?
I have not. No, no, I
Well, I
haven't.
haven't
But
either, but I'm close.
you're close. Yeah.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
keep spending it though.
Oh no, I haven't taken one Titano out since day one. I've only added to it, and also got some of my friends and family involved as well, which uh, which makes me happy
Hmm.
that they're building. They still don't understand it, and they still call me and say, "Oh, can you help me log into my MetaMask?" And I say, "No, I can't. That's
Yeah.
100% on you." But you don't want to be in control of anyone else's MetaMask wallet.
It's funny you
But
say that because I wanted to get a lot of people that I care about into crypto too.
mm,
But what I did was is I just opened funds for them. So I've got like 20 wallets and I
okay.
manage all of them. And if they hit,
Hmm.
then I'll turn them over to them because I just thought to myself, I can't try to explain this to 20 people who don't know anything about crypto.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's easier for
That
me
is,
to just do it
it's a
myself.
good strategy. Yeah. It's
Hmm.
yeah. Buy them a Sasquatch and say, "Here's your Sasquatch. It's going to do things. Just hang on to it."
That's right.
But,
So
yeah.
there was something else when I was reading. I remember there was a story that you were talking about, or had asked in the Discord if anybody had their V1 tokens grow inexplicably.
Yeah.
Did you ever find out what that was, or
No.
so you just
No. It
woke up
was.
one day and you're like,
Hmm.
why is there more
Hmm.
V1 tokens here than was here yesterday?
Yeah, because it stopped rebasing obviously on April
Right.
22nd, and I think at that time I had like 18,000 or something Titano,
Uh huh.
and it sat that way for the longest time. And then one morning I woke up and it's like 19,500, and I was like, well, that's weird. What happened to V1? So I don't know. Nobody ever answered my query,
Were you
but
able to like if you could find? Did you look on the BSC scan to see where that
no,
many came from?
no, I didn't. I
Is
didn't. I should.
was that a tool that you were used to using at that time?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that'll tell you the story. I mean, at least it'll help you figure out, where it came from. I think a
Yeah.
lot of times, people just they get one, if you get one character wrong, it's going somewhere other than,
Right. That's true.
where you
Yep.
think it's going. So someone could have just sent it by accident.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if somebody pushed through like a transaction on PancakeSwap or something, and I don't know. Or maybe somebody sent me their Titano. Here, I don't want this. Take these
Yeah.
V1 tokens.
That's
Yeah, I
never
should have a
happened
look.
to me.
I can only see it on my phone because I don't have the V1 token on my extension on my computer, which is linked to my ledger. So on my phone, I have my MetaMask wallet, and I can see the old V1 token on there, and that's where I saw it. And I was like, that's odd.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I should look it up on BSC Scan and see what's going on there. I'll let you know.
Yeah, I mean, because I've been thinking about it several times, and I'm just like, boy, I wish that would happen to me.
Yeah, well, it'd be good if it happened on the V2 rather than the V1.
Yeah, I never get
Yeah.
airdrops. I either give airdrops, I give them myself. My airdrops work. They just work just fine when I
Hmm.
give them out to people, but I never get them in return.
That's interesting.
Well, I
I
mean,
wonder why.
yeah, I wonder. Yeah,
I
but
wonder why.
I'm involved. I have diversified also. I'm not just in Titanium. I'm in some other things, and now another coin that I've been looking at is Grape, and they do
Hmm.
airdrops. So
Yep.
I'm excited. I want to airdrop something
Yeah,
airdrop to me.
yeah.
I just
Yeah,
want to
cool.
experience that, even if it's just one time.
Yeah, Grape is a pretty cool protocol. I'm pretty bullish on Grape.
Uh-huh. So
Yeah.
okay, so you're looking at that also, huh?
Yeah, I'm in Grape as well, and I'm just new. Well, not I suppose newly because it's still pre-sale, but into Avion. Avion's kind of cool because the base APY is 5,000%, but then you buy an NFT, hold the
Hmm.
NFT in the wallet with the tokens, and you can get a coach class NFT is 100,000 or 999,000, I think, percent. And then business class is 199,000% APY, and then the first class ticket is 399,000%. And they're only giving out 15,000 NFTs in total. So
Uh-huh.
only 15,000 token holders will be able to have their APY very high, and everyone else will be at that 5,000 percent APY.
Is that part of the LC Liquid Capital group?
Uh, they might be.
Um,
They might be.
Maybe if you could you send me a link to that? Uh,
Sure. Their
I,
pre-sale ends today, so I'll send it to you today.
okay, yeah,
Yeah,
I'd take us. So if I wanted to take advantage of that, today's the day, huh?
today's the day. Yeah.
And
Yeah, their
Liquid
pre-sale price
Capital,
is
I
yeah,
think it must be separate.
Liquid Capital came out what, on the 10th
I think the 24th is the last day, the 2 weeks. That'll be two
for
weeks.
the pre-sale. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And
Yeah,
so,
I picked up some of the Liquid Capital as well
me too.
through the
I'm gonna
Titano site. Oh, there's a little fly visiting.
and I'm gonna pick up more too on the 23rd. So on the
Oh,
23rd,
good.
I'm gonna
The
purchase
day
some more.
before. Day
Hmm.
before pre-sale ends. Yeah, right on.
They they had that goal of 10 million. Then there was a
Mhm.
soft cap of 5 million, but I think they're really only going to hit a little bit more than two, and
Right.
they might have hit only hit two. So kind of a tough market to be, you know, raising money with, and they
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why they set the size targets that they set.
mm,
When if you're if you're going to bring in the level of support and the audience that's going to support the protocol at a lower level, then you can grow from there.
yeah.
I don't know if you need to do your first Broadway scale production before you've done a high school stage level of production.
Yeah.
Um,
To me, that just seems like a natural. I don't know. To me, it's natural is just to underestimate. But hey, if you can overachieve, great. It winds up.
mhm.
They say, hey, look at that. They only wanted one, but they got two. You know, and
Yeah,
so that sounds a lot better than you're looking for 10, and we'll settle for two.
and we got two. Yeah, yeah,
You
and
know.
especially is disconcerting when they um, I hate to use the word rug, but pull the rug out from under a project. Not in a nefarious sense, but when they say, "Well, we didn't hit our goals, so we're not going to launch at all."
Hmm.
And I'm thinking, okay, so is it because of the backing? They're backed by a certain amount of funds that need to be repaid if they actually make it to launch. Um, and if they launch without that amount of capital, or is it something that they is there a valid reason why they need to come in at such a high number?
Yeah.
Or yeah, or is
Well,
it
us
the
little
banner
guys don't
waving?
always get that information.
Yeah, that's right. And the
Yeah.
information is different for every protocol. Every
Hmm.
protocol is different. Every contract is slightly different. So
But you
it's
know whose numbers are looking good right now? Because I'm looking at Titano charts over here,
mhm.
and the liquidity is at 2.8. So you're really looking at 4, almost 6 million in
Yep.
liquidity at, gosh, I mean, look at the price, 0.0003. Now, when it was at 13 cents, I
Hmm.
remember the liquidity was less than this, much less,
Okay.
actually.
Yep.
So for it to be this high at the price point that it's at right now, to me, it's very encouraging.
It is. Yeah. And you know, Titano has a good team. They have a lot of good and interesting utilities and potential for more and potential for growth. And that's one of the things that I really like about it. And I also like that the communication that they have, not just within the Discord, but also on their site. They're always putting out announcements and things like that and keeping people engaged and informed about what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it speaks very highly of the team behind it.
Well,
And that's
I'm very, very excited about their partnership with Liquid Capital because I think that partnership is going to be introducing. If you look at the projects that are happening there, and you can, I mean, really look at them and say, "Whoa, I would really love to see that utility over on Titano." I
yeah,
think that's a very real possibility because that's what
yeah,
the whole reason for this conglomerate is. It's there for that reason, so that they can share resources.
exactly.
So,
Collaboration and cooperation. Yeah,
yeah.
it's
So,
definitely a good thing. And then it's interesting too, with Liquid Capital having their own token and having all the partners be part of that pre-sale,
yeah.
and then supporting those protocols independently. So it is funny because I am in a few of the different protocols that are in Liquid
Uh-huh.
Capital's group. And yeah, so I had to choose which one am I going to go through to invest in Liquid.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
I stuck with Titano.
I did too.
I'm tr- I'm true blue. I got the most invested in this project, so I want to
Hmm.
see it, go all the way the most. That's for
Definitely.
sure.
Hmm.
And so I'm real excited. I'm glad that I needed that partnership with Liquid Capital because to
Yeah.
me, that's evidence that the devs are not sitting on their hands, and
Hmm.
that they are looking to expand. And I mean that's all you can ask for, really. I mean,
Absolutely. And I love that they sponsor like Austin's Operation Give Back thing yesterday. Titano was a sponsor, and
mhm.
Austin does so much in the Titano community. But it's nice to see that they're still sponsoring smaller events and smaller things like that, um, even though they're large, and even though they don't have to necessarily have engaged with such a small audience, they still do because I don't know. I sort of feel like it's more of a family than um, a community of strangers.
I don't. Titano wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the following that it has. I mean, it's
Hmm.
you think about everything that's happened even over the last 3 months or so. Dude, I think they only lost 3,000 people. I think at the most, and I think
Yeah,
that
but they were
that's been
picking them
getting
up
back.
too. I think they
Yeah,
were picking a lot of them back up or picking
they've.
up new ones
I think they've
potentially.
fully recovered already.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, which is
I
great.
think that's amazing.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I
mhm.
think the price climb is going to start fairly soon. I'm
Well, I think it's
hoping anyway.
already started. I mean, you know, you get to 4/10 of a cent there, and I'll be real excited.
You'll be happy. Yeah, you'll be walking in high cotton.
Yeah, that's important to, we get there, I think, and if it keeps growing, even if it's very slow, I don't care. Hell, even if it's where it's at till the end of the year, I don't care. I mean, I'll
Yeah,
still, I'll
yeah,
still get what I came here for. So,
yeah. That's right. Yep,
hmm
8,000 square feet of honey.
well, I'm gonna have a place for my guitars.
Yeah.
Okay, they're there. I'll have a place for my all the motorcycles
Awesome.
and leather jackets. So that'll be important.
Right on. Yeah. It's good to work towards a goal, eh? And Titano can definitely support those goals. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to the day that I feel confident to withdraw from it. And
Yeah.
yeah, but right now
Well, if
I'm
you're a diamond
leaving it
hander, you
all in
may
there.
never feel like you
Yeah,
can. I don't know.
that's right. I'm just hoarding all the Titano and keeping it for myself.
You just may be incapable of taking any out.
I know. Yeah, it's a mindset thing, right?
You might have to
Yeah.
have somebody force you.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're gonna have to pry my ledger out of my like dying little hands. Yeah.
Have you won any of the play
Nope.
yet? You didn't because
Nope.
you enter play, right? Are you in
I
all in
yeah,
every
I'm in
time?
play. I'm in
Hmm.
play every time. I haven't taken anything out of play. I just keep putting more into it. And
Uh-huh.
I've done the lottery numerous times and never won the lottery, not even a penny. And yeah, never won play.
Not yet,
And
huh?
I think I've got just over 100,000 tokens in play.
That's a lot.
I know.
Well, don't
I
feel
know.
too bad, but also I'm going to tell you something. Maybe it will make you feel really bad. I don't know, but I I had 6 million tokens in there and did not win.
Wow. You had
So
6 million tokens in play.
yeah, I had 6 million in there
Wow.
at one time and I did not win. Another
Hmm.
time I had 100,000 in there and I did win. So
Right.
you
Okay.
know,
Well, maybe this week is my week.
so yeah, I tested a number of different things. I just wanted to see what would happen, and
Yep.
so I put like 6 million in there and left it in there for 2 weeks or something like that, and then never
Hmm.
won once.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
even though you're looking at your chances over there, and it's like 1 in 3.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. For all 25 draws, you were the two of three that didn't win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting, but it was all fun, and it helped the project, and it
Mm.
doesn't set you back too far. So
Yeah.
um, at some point, once your bag gets to a certain level, it really replenishes itself pretty quickly.
Very quickly. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I remember when it clicked over that first million, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm a Titan millionaire!" And I was so excited about it, especially starting at 2,000 Titano. You watch it
Uh-huh.
climb, but it climbs really slowly, and now it climbs big.
Hmm.
So, and it's very satisfying.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Did you see that big wallet that was accumulating Titanos last week? Did you
No,
follow all that? I think there's
no, I
something like
didn't.
yeah, it's got like 87 million tokens, I think, right now, or something like that.
Wow. Okay.
It's
That's
quite it's quite substantial.
that's a lot.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
somebody's bullish on
On
Titano.
Titano. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Either that or hoping to do something terrible with it.
I know that's always the opposing thought, right?
That's the concern, right? Yeah.
That's always the opposing thought. So okay, we are approaching that time. We're already at 2 hours, and
All
so
right.
I
Well,
think
it's
we're at the point where we're probably ready
to go
to
have some lunch.
to go have some lunch. There you go. Was there anything that you wanted to say before we head out the door that you think was important that we didn't get to touch on or
Um,
anything like?
no, I think we had a really great conversation, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to talk to you about the Squatch Fund
Mhm.
and invite people to check that out. So I'll send you links and a couple photos so you can have a look.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, love your feedback on the artwork. You can either
Okay.
laugh at it or you can tell me that you enjoy it.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so super grateful about that, and super grateful for your company tomorrow on the Twitter space, talking about
That,
money mindset and
that's
stuff,
right.
and how
Tomorrow you got
DeFi.
me.
Yeah, that's right. So it's fairly informal. And my last co-host found out the hard way that you can't connect on a computer. It's audio only via phone into the Twitter space. So it's only going to be my second ever Twitter space. So I
Okay.
imagine it'll be just an extension of our conversation today, which is pretty cool. I've been really enjoyed talking to you.
I did too. Thank you for making time to come on.
Thank you. Hopefully, you'll invite me back again. We'll have further conversation after we've learned more stuff and have more to share.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The whole
Yeah.
idea is that, we create some kind of our own little circle of trust, I guess,
Hmm.
like liquid capital, and then we just have like people on together, like I'm
Awesome.
imagining like, 6 squares full of people and
Yeah, yeah, like
everybody.
Hollywood Squares. We
Yeah, like the Brady
could
Bunch,
turn it into a game show.
There you go. That would be, hey, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm chock full of good ideas. What good
And so
ideas do
we,
you have today? I'm going to turn
wait,
Tony Titano's Titano Space into Hollywood Squares.
wait a second, that could work.
Mm,
That could work, and we would have like a moderator, somebody come up with some questions, and we
yep,
have some competitions.
I like it. I like the
Oh,
idea.
well,
And
that's
then,
because you gave birth.
yeah. But you know what we could do, Tony, is we could do the winner gets to choose a charity that the
Huh.
whatever gets maybe donated or something. It's like a
Uh-huh.
Hollywood Squares challenge with Titano trivia.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That would be like what the ultimate of one of my contests.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yep.
am going
There you
to
go. You're going
I'm
to think
going
about
to
that now.
I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to flesh it out on paper,
Okay.
and and then I'll run it through you, and we'll see what we can cook up.
Cool. Right on. Okay. Awesome. I'd
That
be
is a
very
good
happy to be a
idea.
contestant or the moderator for that.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you
Yeah.
said that because I have a feeling that you'll be the moderator.
All right. That sounds great to me. I'm excited to ask those questions and hit the buzzer.
Yeah. Well, I got to keep you in the driver's seat. I see you're very comfortable there, so.
I am. I'm comfortable in the driver's seat. Yeah.
Mm.
It's a mixture of uh confidence in what you learn and what you know and what you've experienced, as well as a little bit of wild, um, to make sure that you're able to take chances and well thought out chances rather than just like wildly pivoting left, right, and center. You have to make like an educated guess as to which is your best direction and just
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, this turned out to be a really good show. I'm going to tell the missus here. I think she's going to want to listen to this one. I think this is
Awesome.
definitely at the top of you. I think it's been very well. You make it easy. Let's put it that way.
Oh, great.
You're not afraid to have a conversation. You got a good idea of where you wanted it to go, and I think it makes for a good chemistry here. So
Perfect. Well,
I'll
thank
be
you.
it'll
I
be
hope she
interested to
enjoys
see.
it. Yeah. And next time I'm down in Arizona, I'm going to come check out the honeybees.
Yes, give us a ring,
All
and
right.
we'll make some
Absolutely.
time for you.
Yeah, wonderful. Sounds great.
Okay, so I'm just going to let everyone know you're going to give me a number of links. I'm going to put those in the description of
Yeah.
this video for your project. Everything
Hmm.
that they need to know will be listed there,
Yep.
and we'll
Perfect.
get that done sometime today.
Awesome.
Does that sound
Perfect.
good?
Right on. Thank you so much, Tony.
Thanks for making the time.
And we'll
Appreciate it.
talk tomorrow.
We'll talk
Thank
tomorrow.
you. Okay.
Okay,
Farewell.
ciao.
I don't know how to get out. You're going to
Oh,
have to
I'll
kick me out. Oh, there's the button.